pink, floral pink satin. I mean, now it's going to be a really good base for the sash to go onto. Hopefully I can achieve it. I achieved the bodice, so hopefully I can achieve this. Cosplay. G'day everyone and welcome to a new build. That's right, I am making Toph by Sunset Dragon. Oh my goodness, I love this design so much. This is part one of the build series, and in this video we'll be covering the bodice, the sash and the loincloth, so enjoy. Well, let's get cracking on this bodice. So I've already made the mock-up, which is behind me, but I am going to do one last test fit before I rip it all to pieces and start cutting it out of the main fabric. So I'm just going to focus on the bodice for now. I'm going to leave the sash for a little bit later. I've actually dyed the loincloth and cut it all out, so I just need to kind of construct that. That's going to be the easy part, honestly, but yes, I need to focus on the bodice at the moment so that I can do a bit of beading tomorrow while I am doing some sitting down and non-working with my hand things. It's how I roll. So let's start. Alright, so I have tried it on and I've made a few last minute changes. So I just changed the angle slightly of the front, and then I've decided that I'm going to lift up the back slightly. And yeah, add a seam allowance at the base so I can do that real nice. No seam allowance added to the top because that is going to be covered by the gold trim. So yay! Now it's time to cut everything out. So we're moving on with the bodice, and let me just show you this. So I've gone ahead and I've put the beads that are the wire, the French bullion wire I think it is, in silver. I've done that down the seams to emulate the stitches that is shown in the reference image. So I've done that on the front and the back. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working out the boning. So I have put the boning channels, pin them in place for the boning to go into, obviously, on the canvas layer. So I've got 3 layers to this corset. I've got the canvas layer in the middle with the boning, then I've got the lining layer that will make it all pretty against my skin, and then I've obviously got the outer layer. So yes, it's not going to be like a full corset, but it's going to be a well-structured bodice. For boning channels, I'm just using some ribbon that I had in my stash that is wide enough. Because these are all straight lines, it really isn't going to be too much of an issue that I use it. The only thing that I had to rack my brain around was the side. So this is obviously going to be where the zipper is. And I was like, how am I gonna get a single bone? Like, do I put it in front of the zipper or behind the zipper? Like, where do I put it exactly? And then I came to the realization that given the design of the bodice is that the jacket is tucked into the front and then it flips out at the back, I thought, you know what? It's probably going to be better for us, or for me rather, to do a double set of boning on the sides, because there could be some sort of potential pressure in that particular area that could make it want to fall down more. So I'm going to add double the strength of boning in the sides essentially. So I'm going to put a boning channel on each side of the zipper, and I am going to obviously do a double one on the other side. So I am going to sew in these boning channels, create all the boning channels, but I'm going to do it from the top. So I'm going to leave the top open and then sew around, sew up the bottom and then go back up. And I'm doing that because what I'm planning on doing is putting all the boning channels in except for the 2 ones on the side, and I will then sew up the tops of the others so they don't fall out. I will then sew the lining and the outer layer to the bottom and flip it up so the raw edges are encased, and then from there I will get a zipper and put the zipper in to the side. Once the zipper is in, then I'll put in the last boning, and then I will just do some stitches, stay stitches for the top, and I will then connect all the top together so that then I can add the gold bias. That's the order in which I'm planning on doing things. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll show you as we go along. Alright, so I've kind of done what I've said I would do, and this is where we're up to. So we've got the boning all in except for obviously the sides. We have the lining attached, so you can see there is the canvas side with the channels with bones in it. There's the lining. It's all neatly sewn together at the base. That's just going to give me a really easy base to sew to when I'm connecting the sash, so I'm really happy about that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and install the zipper. It's an open end zipper because obviously I need to get this on and off. And then once I have done that, then I will go ahead and connect all the top together. Feels really weird doing it this way, honestly, but it will work. I keep telling myself it will work. And then from there, what we'll do, or what I will do, is the royal we is I will put the gold bias binding on the top, or the gold trim should I say. Alright, so it's the next morning and here is the bodice. It's very smooth. I'm very happy. It looks like it's puckering, but it's not. It's just the stitches. The stitches. So, and that's what it looks like at the back. It's all very good. So I'm very, very happy with this. I'm really glad that the gold turned out very nicely. I was originally going to do a seam here so that you could have like a really sharp edge, but I did a tester piece and, well, it wasn't quite a tester piece. I cut the piece out and I did it, and then I was like, I hate that, so I recut it, and now it's a tester piece. But now I'm happy that I did it without the seam because it looks really, really smooth, and I still have that little bit of a sharpness here, so it's not like just a dome going across. So I'm very, very happy with this. It feels super, super supportive. So, I mean, now it's going to be a really good base for the sash to go onto, and also the loincloth. And yeah, it's looking good. There's the zip. It's pretty nicely hidden, all things considered, and yeah, good times. It is so cold, oh my goodness. So now that the bodice is all done, except for obviously the 3D printed piece that will come later, haven't fully done that one yet, but I need to work on the sash. So I have created a little bit of a mock-up piece out of this wonderful pink, floral pink satin that I need to unpick and then cut it out of the proper fabric. But before I do that, I have decided that I am going to try and construct this with a kind of solid piece behind where the gathered piece needs to be on top, so that as I am tacking it down in the places where it needs to be tacked, it will look good. Draping is something I have not had heaps of luck with in the past, and I realized that could be because I was tacking it to itself, which meant that it was pulling in places I didn't want it to pull. But I figure if I have a base layer underneath it that I can tack the pieces to, then it's not going to shift. At least that's what I think in my head. So I'm going to give it a go and hope for the best. But yes, before I do that, I need to create another mock-up for the base sheet that goes underneath this, which will also be the lining layer as well. So I will have 3 layers to the sash. It will be the gathered layer on top, then it will be a very thin piece of fabric that's non-stretch in the middle that this is tacked to, and then to hide all those stitches, there will be the lining layer of this on the back side. So it will look just all this type of fabric, but the backside will be smooth without any kind of stitches. That's what I'm aiming for. Hopefully I can achieve it. I achieved the bodice, so hopefully I can achieve this. I know, such a look, right? So a little sneak peek of the pants in this video of how they're progressing. As you can see, they're very much open, but I think that this is the base layer that I'm going to go for, and I will have this includes the 1.5 seam allowance that I will have. It seems to be doing the right job and the right shape as per the reference image. It's hitting me where it needs to hit me on the buttocks, and you know, with the seam allowance that will be the right length, and it's showing just the right amount of pale green that it's meant to on the pants at the back. So yay for reference images. I am so happy that I'm a patron of Sunset Dragon because it means that I get the back shots, and I've got the back shot of this one, which makes me very happy. So what I'm going to go ahead is I'm going to go and cut out the kind of, I guess, like the inter piece of fabric, which is going to be the base for the kind of draping to go onto, and I will also cut out the actual lining out of this one as well. I have just finished putting these together. Oh my gosh, doesn't it look so beautiful and so much like a sash at the moment? So I've got the lining in the back here, and what I've done is I've overlocked the top and the bottom together. So the lining is obviously much shorter than the overlayer because the overlayer is going to be kind of tacked down in places so that I've got this drape effect, so that it looks like the sash has just been miraculously tied around my waist and it's absolutely perfect and totally symmetrical. So everything needs a good base. So I'm going to put this on my dress form, and then I'm going to start pinning it so that it looks like it's draped around, and then I will go through and I will do some hand stitches in the places that need to have them so that I can get the lines essentially of this drape. So when it's on my body, it looks like it was just thrown on me, but it's gonna take hours of work. Cosplay. So this is where we're at with the sash. So as you can see, it is wrapped around. I need to like not stick out my tummy. But it is okay. Like, draping is something that I always struggle with, and I wanted this to look organic, as if it was just something wrapped around her, and that is definitely what this is. I learnt that the least amount of stay stitches that you put into it, the more organic it looks. If I was to do this again, which I just don't have the fabric to do it, I'm pretty sure, is I would probably do the base, like the base piece of fabric, and then get the kind of another piece of fabric and drape it over the top, and then just drape sew as I'm going along, and then cut off the excess. But I did it this way. It's okay. Like, it's passable. It is what it looks like, what it's meant to look like, to a certain amount of degree, and I can still play around with it, and it generally holds its shape because there is tension on my body, which is good. And yeah, I've just put it with the over corset to kind of have a look at where it's finishing at the front, and you know, at the back it's finishing where it's meant to. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I will actually add the lining to it now at the base, and then I will hand stitch up the top, and then from there I will add it to the corset, and then I'll try it again with the pants, and hopefully no more changes will be needed, because that will make it very, very difficult, because I'll need to sew it from the outside fabric. So the sash is now attached to the bodice, and that was done by tiny little stitches that were done by hand. I also have put the closure in at the front, so I needed to leave it open at the side so that I could then put the other flap, I suppose you could say, to come and join it at the side. So I've done that with 2 hook and eyes. I haven't tried it on. This is all just based on what I'm looking at. This honestly has done my head in slightly. Just draping is something I haven't got a lot of experience in, and because this particular drape is going around the entire body and there's no seam for the drapes to be sewn into, it's been difficult. So hopefully it all works. Fingers crossed. truth will be in the pudding when I try it on when Terry gets back, because I need his help putting it on me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the little loincloth. Here is the fabric for the loincloth, 2 pieces of the same silk silk wool blend that I have in the main pants, which I have dyed, and it is this beautiful green color. So what I need to do is I need to give these a good iron because they're a little bit crinkled. I also need to cut the gold, and then I'm going to sew it so that the gold piece is connecting the 2 pieces together. So it's like green, gold, green, and then I'm gonna fold them in half so that the gold is down the bottom. I will make sure that I give the gold a little bit of a press beforehand so it does have like a center line that it folds on. And then I will sew up the sides. The reason being is because the gold Ultra Preme, it is a really fantastic fabric. Like, I mean, I love the top of this bodice, but I found that it doesn't like to be machine stitched. You know, it could be that I just need to change out to a better needle, but I have found that it sews really nicely when it is against a non-stretch fabric like a silk or a cotton. So I'm just gonna do it this way so I don't have to change out my needle, especially because I would be going between the Ultra Preme and the silk in the sewing line. This is gonna be the smoothest way that I'm gonna be able to get that edge. And here she is, the bodice with the sash and the loincloth. I'm really happy with how she's turned out. The sash is doing what it's meant to do and actually looks quite decent, which I'm quite happy about. And once it's got the over kind of corset over the top of it, it will be able to like pull it out so that it kind of folds over the bottom of that, and then this middle section will look really, really nice. At the moment it's still looking a bit bunchy, but that's okay. The loincloth, I'm okay with it. I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to put any stay stitches towards the bottom just to kind of bring it in a little bit, because it's kind of doing some weird draping things. Yeah, got to play around with that a bit more, but that will be very, very minor. So thus ends this vlog, this part 1 of making Toph by Sunset Dragon. Tune in for the next one. I'm not sure if that's going to be the jacket and the corset or it's going to be the pants. It just depends on what I finish first. But yay! Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye!